My name is Shane Kipper. Thank you for joining me today. This is the three-step ad framework that I use for all of my clients. Most of the clients that I work with are course creators, coaches, agency owners, people who want to build a bigger brand and also increase their sales. Before we get started on the three-step ad framework, go to callwithshane.com. I've got a free 90-minute training that you can get access to. It's callwithshane.com. But the first thing, and I really talk about it a lot, is creating content. But not only that, is creating content that's valuable. Because the reality of it is in a world, in a marketplace where there's a ton of people advertising, you really have to stand out. You have to create something. We're kind of out of the age where you can create an ad designed to be more flashy in your face, to make you click on the advertisement, to be really clickbaity, because people are smart, people aren't dumb, and you also don't really want to treat the customers that you want like they are dumb. And not that you would intentionally do that, but these flashy advertisements, they can work, but I think that type of advertisement is going to work for somebody that might be just getting started and someone that doesn't know that they actually have a problem. And so you're really trying to encourage them to have a problem so that they'll buy your thing, right? Not all the time, but the way that I like to do it is through creating value. Okay, and that's kind of what I do on these videos. That's all this is just value posts. And I can actually use these videos, these live videos that I do, for advertisements to go to my offer, which is callwithshane.com. But we build value first, okay? But when we build value, we want it to be engaging. We don't want it to be boring, but at the same time, you don't want it to be clickbaity, because the reality of it is we want to attract our who. But because we've done that research, our message is easier when we talk about it in our videos. When we talk to our client in our video, we know who it is. But what is the bait? Okay, my bait is It's a free 90-minute training. It's actually 3 different trainings that you can get, which is about advertising, funnels, and automation. But those tend to be those are the 3 core things that you have to have in order to run a successful marketing campaign. And so those are the 3 things that I have educated myself on, have gotten results with for my clients, and teach now. But my bait is that free offer. So what is your bait? When you think of your bait, though, something Frank Kern said one time was, you're never going to catch a whale using minnow bait. And he's very right, because if you think about it like this, if you're let's say a business consultant, you're consulting other businesses, those businesses have already been established. They already are probably bringing in income. Maybe they have employees. There's a certain, and that's why we need to know who. But since we know that, we're not going to send them we don't want to create anything that is, basically kind of get rich quickie, or how to get started. You wouldn't create content around how to get started because they've already started. So you would want to create more content around, you would need to know their problems, right? So typically a business owner's problem is attracting leads and then converting into sales. I would create content around that. So your value, and this is the first phase, because what we're going to do, and like I said, is with these videos, is I can use them for advertising content. So I can put money, I can give Facebook money, and they'll show it to more of the people that I want to see. And you can determine that on the Facebook ads manager, Okay, but we want to build value. And then also, in regards to the who, we want to be dog whistling. Okay, so dog whistling, what does that mean? Dog whistling means that you're calling out to your perfect prospect. This is going to be, you can do this in the form of a question, you can do this in a form of a statement, and it could be even an exclamated statement, right, where it's all caps or exclamation points. It makes it like a bold statement, but your statement might be, attention local businesses. Okay, so that in itself says that it's only for local businesses. So unless you are a local business owner, you're not going to continue to watch the rest of the content, and that's what we want. The reality of it is you can put out a bunch of money, give Facebook a bunch of money, and try to get a bunch of leads, but what is the quality of that lead? And the only way, that, in my opinion, to create a truly qualified and quality lead is by knowing exactly who you want, setting that criteria, and only creating content for them. And then making sure that they know that it's for them so that they consume it. And when they consume it, then we move into probably the best part of it, because you can create content, but how can you stay in front of those people that are actually consuming that content? Which brings us to building an audience. That's the second one. The second step is building an audience. So how do we build an audience? Well, with this value content that we've created, Facebook will actually track that information. They're following, they're gathering a bunch of data on the person that's consuming this. And when I talk about engagement, that's likes, comments. I'm not trying to spell out all the words. I'm trying to make this quick so it's not boring. Likes, comments, shares, even your watch time. So this comes down to like if you watch it for 3 seconds, if you click on the video to open it up, if you stop on, even if you don't click on anything and you're just hovering over the playing video on the advertisement, Facebook tracks all that stuff. It's very intelligent. And so when you set certain parameters, you can build an audience. So if they've watched a certain amount of time, let's say 100%. If they watch 100%, then they're probably a pretty good audience. So but what you can do with these audiences is actually build, which is our next step, is retargeting. I didn't spell that right, but that's all right. But we'll get to that in a moment. But with our audience, the engagement is what allows us to build this audience. So, but like I said, you want to make sure that you're building the right audience. You want to be dog whistling. You want to have the right bait, and you want to know who exactly it's for. And when you create that content, have in mind that this audience that you're trying to build is all of the people that actually want to consume your information and possibly buy from you in the future. A lot of times people aren't going to buy from you and most of the time they're not going to buy from you on the first advertisement, which is why we want to build this audience. This audience almost acts as if it's like an email list, right? Because when you bring in a lead from an advertisement, you're trying to probably collect a lead, a name and an email. That email you can remarket to, and typically the money is made on the follow-up. You've heard that before, I'm sure. But you got your emails, so you can resend, you can send out broadcasts, you can set up sequences that people go through to continue to consume your content, get value, and then go buy your product or service. But the audience is actually a more advanced, highly skilled audience or ninja hack for creating a list, because this list can then be retargeted to. And then our retargeting, it becomes a lot more simple because we know that the audience that we're marketing to now is who we want to talk to. So now we're able to put more value in front of them and spend our money confidently. It's like, okay, I know for sure that these people are who I want seeing my content, so I'm going to provide more value. Okay, and then the actual content that you make doesn't even have to be as long because they've seen you before. But if you can stay in front of them, it's called omnipresence. right? But typically that would mean you're on Instagram, you're on Google AdWords, you're on all these different platforms, so you're following your customer all over the internet. But retargeting, we want to stay in front of them with value. And the nice thing is if you're an expert, which I'm assuming you are because you're here consuming this content, trying to grow your business, or come up with ideas on how you can create content or run advertisements or build funnels or do automation, you know, it's all about value. I read a statistic yesterday that 70% of buyers would like to see a video on the product before they buy. So if you can demonstrate, and let me make a tip here. A key point is when it comes to your content, you don't want, sorry, I'm blanking right now. Oh, you don't want to show them demonstrations on what your product does. Like, I'm not going to be sitting here showing you how to build a funnel. Number one, you would have to be on your ClickFunnels account. Number two, it would get boring as hell. And then number three, that type of content is for when you pay me, right? I'm building a course currently that will outline the whole process of everything, so you could go just buy that, go through the course, build everything you need, and then run the advertisements, which will be in there as well. But I'm not going to show you how to do the funnels on my value. When we're talking about value, yesterday we went over the 3 core pillars. So those 3 core pillars is what you create content on. It's for me, it's going to be number 1 is content. So how can I break down content? How can I create value around content? Not necessarily giving them the frameworks, or not necessarily giving all the beans away, but you're helping them realize that this process is actually super simple, and there's a way to do this effectively. So I want to learn more, so I'm going to click that button and I'm going to go register for the webinar, or maybe check out the cheat sheet, or whatever it is. Okay, so Chad had a question. Excuse me. Can you do this for bookkeeping business? Yeah, I think you can do it for any business. And the strategy would be the same, because with bookkeeping, especially right now, it would be a great time for that, going into tax season. But for bookkeeping, in order to make it attractive, because bookkeeping really isn't that attractive, but there's value that person could bring. And the other thing to this is you kind of have to commit to creating content. That's probably the hardest thing that I find with my customers, is getting people to actually create content. Because if this piece was done, creating content, the rest of it would be super simple. It's just getting over that fear, which I completely understand. I had to go through that barrier as well. But when it comes to bookkeeping, creating content for that, you're going to be creating content around, again, you would want to understand your 3 core pillars, but what are your pillars, and then create content around those pillars. And those pillars are going to be the main steps someone would have to take in order to get the result. So what is the result they want? Are they trying to hire out a good bookkeeper? But what do they really want? Why do they want to hire a bookkeeper? So they want to hire a bookkeeper because it saves them time, it's done properly. All they have to do is file it for their taxes. But what kind of steps would they have to take in order to find the right bookkeeper or something like that? It would take some real thought. You're gonna have to brainstorm ideas of what's valuable about the process they need to go through, and what do they want to know. Like what kind of fears do they have? What kind of objections do they have in regards to your product or service? And if you can identify their fears, their desires, their worries, their objections, now those things can be overcame in content. And once, because your dog whistling as a bookkeeper, you're like, hey, looking to get your taxes done or your bookkeeping done for you, there would be a better one than that. But dog whistling, so you're catching their attention, bringing them into the audience, and then retargeting, getting them to book a call, or maybe you did have a bookkeeping course on QuickBooks or something like that. There's a lot of things you could do. So that's it for today. Number one is build value. Create content that's valuable that you can use for advertisements to build your audience. You want to make sure you're dog whistling and have the right bait so that this audience builds, you're building the right audience. Okay, that audience is like an email list, but only a little bit better because we can do it pretty cheap and no one has to register for anything. All their registration is their engagement. Okay, and then we can retarget to them. We can create more value that shows them that we are an expert in the field, that we know what we're talking about, and that we're a force to be reckoned with. So that's it for today. Go to callwithshane.com for more information. I put together a free three-part 90-minute series that you can get access to. It's going to talk about advertising funnels and setting up your email automation so that stuff is, you don't really have to mess with it. You can send out broadcasts. That's callwithshane.com. But that's it for today. Look out, because I'm going to be coming to you with more content. I'm buying some lights, buying a new desk. I'm trying to get my office all set up. This whiteboard's new, so I'm excited to be using this and creating more content for you. So let me know what you think. If you like this video, make sure to like it up, smash that notification bell if there is one on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, and then make sure to subscribe. And I'll see you very soon. Peace.